All right, we are live now. So we have already about 136 people joined. So warm welcome to you all. So we'll be starting the session in another 5 minutes. So we are expecting more people to join. So maybe around 3-5 we can start the session. Yeah, hi Ashish. Hi Manoj. Hi Naga. Hello Ankit. Hi Raj, Donald, Sumit, Achal, Vikas, Rupesh. Right. A lot of people joining in the session. We could see another 150 more people joining in. So guys, so who have just now joined, we'll be starting the session in another 4 minutes. Vikram says, can we connect via mobile for the audio? Sorry, excuse me. So there, there is no option to connect via mobile. It's through the computer audio itself. So you need to have a good internet connection to join in. Virender says, can we record the session? So the session is already getting recorded, and also we will be providing you the recordings of the session. Virender, we would not recommend to record the session, but since we are already recording it, you will be able to receive it. You will get within 4 hours. You will be getting an email from us where the recording will be available, and moreover, we are going to put it on a public platform like YouTube and Facebook so that you can access them as too. So Arnab Biswas, the video is not starting at my end. So Arnab, there's no video. It's just the screen is what we are sharing. As of now, you could see 3 different people joined. Like one shows a screen UpskillRight image, another just a blank image. So you wait for another 1 or 2 minutes. We'll start the session, and our SME will also share the screen. So then you will be able to view the screen too. Vaishnavi says, is there any prerequisite for this session? So there is no prerequisite for this session as of now. While practicing, maybe you can, we have a course content also. There we have mentioned what is the prerequisite. Okay, all right. I think we are, it's already 3-5 and we have enough participants also to start off. So we have our SME, Mr. Raghu, who's a veteran in IT industry. He's been doing training, I mean, in the IT industry for more than 24 years, and also from last 5-10 years, he's also been delivering training. So, Mr. Raghu, you can give little more detail about your work experience, your training experience. So you can take over from here, Mr. Raghu.
Thanks. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. It is loud and clear. I'm able to hear you well.
Okay. Let me share my screen. Are you able to see the presentation, Python in 60 minutes? Are you able to see my presentation? Can I get a response?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because when I'm in the presentation mode, I'm not able to see that your chart or anything.
Okay, I'll help you on that.
Yeah. So good afternoon to everyone. So this is the first series of the webinar on the Python machine learning, and this one is Python in 60 minutes. And let me introduce myself. I'm Raghu Prasad. I've done BE and MS, and I'm having around 24 years of experience. Out of which, I was a lecturer in an engineering college for about 7 years, and then into IT from last 17 years. I worked in various companies like Cisco, CSC, ICICI, First Apex, which is called as Entity Data, in various capacities. Like I started my career as a Java developer and then moved all the way, and finally I was a solution architect and associate vice president also. And from first few years, I'm into corporate training and consultancy. As part of it, I provide training to the corporates as well as individual and also to the universities. And most of these are the technologies I work with. I started off my career as Java developer, and then as and when I got the opportunity to work on the technologies which is getting evolved, so I worked on Python, AI, ML, most of the web technologies, JavaScript technologies, Internet of Things, and test automation. So these are the few technologies I work with. Coming to today's agenda, so I will be starting with introduction to Python as a generic programming language with the assumption that this particular webinar series, so without any prerequisite from the perspective of the trainees, so with the assumption that you may be having programming language experience, but I will be starting as if you start from zero, in the sense without having any knowledge. From that perspective, I will be starting. And we will understand like where and all Python is being used, and why is this buzz about Python, and why as a individual we should learn Python. And in the hands-on session, I will be using Anaconda and installation of Anaconda, in the sense I will show you the steps which is being already put in the screen. And my main aspect is code as you learn. I will be getting you through these aspects of the programming of the Python, where I would be starting with the program Python, and then the building blocks of any programming language, like data types, operators, loops, and conditional statements. And also I'll be using functions. And when we actually start coding, so like the difference in terms of Python and other programming language, if you are already into, or if you are not into also, you will know like how Python is easy. And we will be doing programming using the data structures or the advanced data types like list and dictionary, and also a bit of object-oriented programming. So this is what I thought in the next 60 minutes. So I will be taking you through this. So there are many programming languages, as you know. So if you look at the Wikipedia, it says Python is a very high level programming dynamic object-oriented programming language. So there are so many things here. One is the high-level programming language, dynamic, in the sense dynamic typing, and the object-oriented programming languages. So those who already know, like Java or PHP or any other programming, C++. So you know it is an object-oriented programming. In the same way, Python is also object-oriented programming. And the main thing is it is easy to program and to read. So it reduces a lot of coding. The syntax is simple, and with the help of what is called as indentation, so it would be very easy to read the program, and it gets a proper formatting and all when we start using it. And it's almost like similar to Perl, and with powerful typing and the object-oriented features. So other than that, like it has very good data types, basic data types and advanced data types like lists and dictionaries. And it has PR syntax and the extension. So when you write any program with Python, so we have extension like the program with extension .py, and you can also use other extensions like pyc, pyd, and pyo. So which are the ones we include it as a module. You can have the extension pyc. And then you have optimized a code using with the extension .pyo and with the DLLs like pyd. And the good thing about Python is great for text processing. So that is where it comes from. It is very good for text processing. Coming to the Python implementation, like Python as a standard, it is implemented in different ways. Usually the Python which we download and which we use, we call it as C Python. So that is the implementation is the C Python. And there is a faster implementation of the Python, we call it as PyPy. So which is using a just-in-time technology, JIT compiler. And there is another implementation of the Python, we call it as Iron Python, which is running on the .NET. And we have another implementation, we call it as a Python, which is a Python running on JVM. And nowadays for the microcontrollers, so most of the times like microcontrollers, we will be using C or C++ kind of a programming. And there is a version of Python, which is a MicroPython. So we can do the embedded programming using this. For the purpose of this particular demonstration, I would be using Anaconda Python. The reason is it comes with so many built-in libraries. Again, going forward in this series, when we are working with Python data sciences, machine learning, we will be using the same. So that's why we are using what is called as the Anaconda Python. There are different distributions also comes up. So here we will be using Anaconda Python. Yeah. So as you know, like we usually call the different programming languages which you have come across. Few of them are classified as compiled, few of them are classified as interpreted, and few of them are hybrid. So Python comes under the hybrid. In the sense, when we basically we call it as interpreter and compiled. In the sense, we use like the way we have Java, we have a Java virtual machine. Similarly, Python we have something called Python PVM. When we write the Python code and when I run the Python code, so initially it is not converted into machine code, but it is a intermediate step. So it is converted into intermediate and then it is going to run. It's converted as a bytecode. So with that, the advantage is like it is becoming a platform independent and we can run on any platform similar to the way we use Java. That is where Java is getting predominant, like because of this platform independence. So that is where, but there is a issue associated with this is bit slow, but there are other compilers like PyPy which can make it bit faster. So it's also interpreted, we say, so it is going to do the interpretation in the sense line by line code it is going to execute. So it would be very helpful in terms of the debugging. So the main advantage of it tries to take the advantages of the compiled as well as interpreted. So in terms of debugging is easy here. The source code is publicly available and it's open source. So and also it is platform independence. So these are the few of the pros and cons, and it is cross-platform. It's slow, but it can be made faster with compilers. And why Python? Why Python? And how did I get started with Python? So as far as most of the first initials of my career, I started with Java, and I worked on Java, J2E, and all the other enterprise Java beans and all the things. And then later on, I got an opportunity to work with Python. So in one of the project where we started working with Python, so that's from where I actually picked up Python. And a very important thing Python is like mostly like similar to Java, it's portable, but unlike Java, it is even though it is free and it is open source and it's interpreted, it's object oriented. From the programming perspective, it is easy to code. And the great thing is the large library and the community. Because Python does not belong to any corporate as such, it is open source. There's a lot of community behind it, and which is helping, which has come up with a lot of libraries to solve a real world problem associated with so many other things. At the same time, you can do web programming, you can do UI programming, not just with basic Python, but something on top of it. And many companies are using Python in one way or the other way, like it's YouTube, Quora, Instagram, Pinterest. You can name many like Flipkart, Slack, Uber. So many of the companies are already using Python. And if you look at top 5 programming languages, any survey you go, anywhere you see at least consistently Python is there, at least in top 3 or top 5 in terms of the programming languages. So that is there. And it is just not, like top 5 programming language. It is based on the usage, based on the GitHub code, based on the companies which are using the Python from that particular perspective. These surveys are being conducted. And Python, not only as a generic programming language, it is good for data sciences, machine learning, artificial intelligence. And which are all the competitors for it? Like you have R, you have SAS. So these are the few competitors. So, but the Python has overtaken those competitors. It's running ahead of this. One is it is a generic programming languages, and because of the lot of libraries which are being added to the Python. And as I told you, like the Python YouTube was originally written in Python, and Yahoo Maps earlier days it used Python. And then Google uses many of the components of the Google Spider, which is a search engine, is also written in Python. And there's a Dropbox, which is a web-based hosting service that uses Python. And many other things like Shopzilla, which is a comparison website, they use Ultra 6 server, which is a commercial search engine it uses. And some of the package management utilities in the Linux operating system, that is called YUM, also uses Python. And where and all we can use Python, or what is the traditional uses of Python? I'm not talking about just the Python as a programming language and the libraries on top of Python. The one is we can do backend programming, right? We can do any backend programming using Python. Second thing is you can do the database programming along with that. You can connect to the database and you can do the database programming. It's very good for internet scripting. Like there is something called web scraping. You can get data from the web and then you can put it into a file or you can put it into a database. If you want to do like graphical user interface kind of a programming, we call it as a GUI programming, Windows programming, you can do it. And it's getting predominance in terms of usage in data sciences, artificial intelligence, image processing, and also embedded programming. So embedded programming, it is getting a lot of, in the sense, a lot of importance also. It's you can use it in embedded programming. So if you learn like Python properly, you can move into any direction. So that is what of your interest. That is what is the advantage of learning Python. And it's already being used in weather forecasting, scientific analysis, or targeted advertisements, or financial institutions like risk management. So Python, when it is started, it also started at the same time as that of Java, but initial days it's almost dormant, not much effective. But because of the increase in terms of the availability of the data, computing power, it has become predominant now. So as new use cases are getting, so because of that, there is a lot of demand for the people with the Python skills. And the great thing is the lot of libraries already available to solve a problem in a use case. You need not to get started with start with zero. There are already something is available. And again, these are the few companies which is using Python for weather forecasting, real-time advertisement, and then risk management audits, and then Los Alamos. It is a scientific laboratory which also uses Python. And bit of history of Python, as you know, like this guy, Udo von Rossum, he started Python in 1980s. And the one initial version, like he came up with in 1991. And mostly you can see the history like in 1994, where he has started. Same time Java also started in 1995. But it has gone through so many versions, and one of the predominant version was 2.7, and then now we have 3.0. I think we have latest version 3.9. And he has given this name as the Python because he was influenced by the circus called Monty Python. So because of that, he has given this particular name. And still he used to contribute to Python. He's in the advisory board. He continues to hold the position here. And what are the pros and the cons? The pros in the sense like you can use it in the data science, embeddable programming, Internet of Things. It is an object-oriented programming. You can extensible in the sense you can write the code of other program, and then you can use Python with other programming. And it's readable, and as basically it is portable, free, and open source. So you can write the program and you can put it into any operating system. On the disadvantages, a bit of speed limitation is there, and it's not very good in mobile computing, and database also not very good compared to other programming languages like Java and all, where it is not highly developed, but still you can do the programming issue. But these are the few areas still the work is going on. And because of this, like if you learn Python, because of these reasons, you can be flying high. It's interpreted, dynamic, highly readable, object-oriented, interactive, and you can also do the functional programming. Now, what is the career path in Python? If you learn Python, what you can be? So you can get into web development. Then, along with Python, you may have to learn like Flask, Django, and also, as you know, like when you want to get into web development, you have to learn SQL. You can get into artificial intelligence, machine learning. where you should learn along with Python other libraries like for data analytics as well as visualization and then the algorithms like NumPy, Matplotlib, scikit-learn, OpenCV. If you want to get into embedded programming, then you can also learn Python and then you can use the MicroPython. If you want to get into test automation, those are into manual automation. They want to move to the test automation. You can use Python along with something called Selenium. And if you want to get into like natural language processing, where you want to like converse with a machine like Alexa and all, or like chatbot, so then also you can get into Python with other libraries like NLTK. Also, you want to get into like system administration or DevOps, you can use Python script there along with other tools, you can use it. So quite a lot a career option is available here, where first step is to learn Python, and then on top of it, you can go anywhere. Let us say you are into data science and slowly you want to develop a web module for it. Then also you can get it.
Raghu Kumar here.
Yeah.
Okay, I think there are a lot of participants. They are saying there is a problem with the voice. They are not able to hear. So I wanted to just quickly check with rest of the participants. Like, is it everyone facing the same problem or only a few people? Can you please all the participants? Can you just put a chat on the chat window? Can you just comment like whether you're able to see the screen and hear as well? Okay, great. I think there are it's a mixed, but I could see that a lot of people are able to hear well. Only few participants are facing issue. So my request is, I think you people can actually reconnect. On the top, you have a red button, reconnect button. You can just click on that and reconnect once again. And maybe it could be, internet connectivity problem also with few of the participants. That's why maybe you will be having this audio issue. Okay. Right.
Yeah. Thanks, Kumar. I think you are audible properly. Hope you are able to hear me, right? You are able to see the screen, right?
Very clear, sir, for me. I don't have any problem. I mean, some people say that the screen was also not visible. For me, the screen is also visible. No problem.
Okay.
Okay.
So now let us, so that's about bit of the theory. Now, how to start installing the Anaconda? In the sense, like I will be doing the hands-on, and I'm not sure whether you are in front of your system in the sense you want to do it, but I will be doing this, and then video is also recorded. Later on, you can practice it. It's up to you, like how you want to do. Because we are not set any prerequisite in terms of attending this webinar, but I will show you like how and where we can download this. So when you say Python, you can just download the Python, but that particular Python I will be showing on my Google. So just if you want to just download Python, you can see here. So you can download Python. Hope you are able to see my screen. Google, I am typing. Yeah. So if you want to just download Python, you can download Python, but I'm not doing this way. What I'm doing is I'm doing with Anaconda. So this is where you can download the Python. So just I will put it in the chart video also if you want. This is where you can download the Python. So if you download this Python, it comes with an IDE called idle. So that particular you can use it. But the thing is, when you get into data science and all, you have to add so many libraries to it. So that is the reason I'm not going with this particular option. But plain Python, if you want to install, you can install with this particular option. So of the downloading the Python from here. So what I would be doing, or I have already done, is I would say like download, but it's going to take some time. I'm using Windows, so that's why I'm looking for download Anaconda. And here it is individual addition Anaconda. And you can go to the end of the screen. So here there is an option to download Python. So this uses Python 3.8, and again depending on your system, whether it's a 64-bit or 34-bit, you can download this. So once you download this version, it's actually installation is very simple. It's just click. So just I will share the screen. I already downloaded, so I won't be downloading it again. So this is where you can download this. Once you download it, the installation is very simple. Even it is I have put all the steps here. So once you download it, then it will ask you like next and all. Next. And there is one place where it is going to say add Anaconda to my path environment variable. What I suggest is you can add it so that it is added to the path. You can do even the programming with using any editor also if you want to do, or if you want to run a Python program on your command prompt, you can do it. So it will be adding to the path. That's the only thing which I am suggesting. Other than that, everything is default. So this is the only point. Then it is going to install it. Okay. So once the installation is done, in this Anaconda, I would be using what is called as a spider. Anaconda has so many tools. One of them is the IDE, which is a spider. Also, you can use Jupyter Notebook that we would be using later on once we get into the machine learning part. Here, I would be using the what is called as a spider. So just we have to search spider here. And then this is a spider. Even it has R and other stuff. It has Jupyter Notebook. So many things are there. I would be using the spider for this demonstration. So once we click on the spider will come up and it's going to bring here like this. So this is how you can get it. Otherwise, whichever the Python version, I mean, whichever the things you have, whichever the IDE you have, you can work with me, or you want to code with me, you can do that. So that's perfectly right, because we are not using any additional library here. So you can use any of the IDEs. So the one IDE now I will be using is the spider, so which is part of the Anaconda. Okay. So having said that, what is that I would be doing here? So from the hands-on session, so it's already around, we left with around 30 more minutes or 40 more minutes, where I would be getting started with the hands-on session, where how to start, and we will start with the basic programming, like just to know like how it is easy compared to other programming languages. I will be discussing about what are the different data types we'll be using. I will be discussing about what are the different operators, like you have arithmetic operator, relational operator, logical operator, and also the building blocks, loops, conditional statements, and then the functions and class and object. So we will be understanding various concepts by doing the programming. So not to explain you all those things, I will explain all of them using the programs. So in order to get started, as I told you, just we have to write spider or any other editor, whatever you want to use, it's fine. Just double click on the spider. When you double click on the spider, so I would be getting this window. This is the spider window. So I will be starting from the scratch. So what I will be doing is, now let me create a folder. So today's here I'm creating a folder. I'm creating Python in 60 minutes. I'm creating this folder. Now I would be doing the programming in this folder. What I will do is I will copy this folder, and then Once the spider is open for you first time, you won't see all these things because I have done all the many programming. I will be getting like this for you. Once you open, so it would be like empty one. So now what I will be doing is I'm opening this folder. Just I'm opening this folder. Nothing is there. I would be starting from the scratch. Okay. So on the right hand side, I have the, so when you open up the spider, it has three sections. On the right hand side where you can see the files, variable explorer. Down below is the console where you can get the output, and on the left hand side is where we would be doing the programming. So these are the three things we have here. So if I want to get started with the programming, so let me just say file, new, and let me save it, file, save as. So just I am saying one, getting started, and the extension is .py, and you can say, or you can select Python files here. So getting started, and I will type Control++ so that it will zoom in. Let me just get started with simple program like hello world, which you are all aware, any programming language, we start with it. If you know like C or Java, you will be writing at least 3, 4, 5 lines of code. In Python, it's very simple. Just I say print, and then I would say hello world. Right? So this is what I typed. So hope you are able to see this. And if I want to run this program, there is a triangle here. Just run F5, and on the right hand side you can see it has typed hello world. So this is how you can get started. With that, you know, like we have reduced at least around. You will be writing 5 lines of code here. At least only 1 line of code. And as you know, like print is a function, and this quote either you can use double quote or you can use single quote. Okay, this is where you can get started. And Python programming, let us say I want to define a variable. Say I define a variable called course, and is equal to either I can use single quote or double quote Python. So this is what is a variable. So variable is course is a variable, and this is a string literal. Right hand side is a string literal. So that means it is a constant string which I am assigning it to a variable. If you observe in other programming language, I would be starting with data type, right? So we will be saying either string or character, then we define the variable and all. So this is dynamically typed. In the sense, you need not to define the data type. Without defining the data type, you can get started like that. So if I want to run it, you can just select this, and then just here there is a one run selection is there, or F9 is there. If you can run this, on the right hand side you can see it has assigned like course, and if I want to print a variable, you can say print. So this is how I can print it. But does it mean that Python has a data type or not? Yes, it has a Python has a data type. So Python has a data type, but this is dynamically typed in the sense based on the value, whatever you assign it to a variable is going to decide the data type. See here, as this variable, we have assigned a value Python, which is a string. If you put anything either in a single quote or double quote, it is a string. And that's why it has taken the data type as string. Now the question is, how do you know what is the data type? So then there is a command called type print type of course. It's a function. Okay. So when I run this, so it says the data type. All the data type in Python is a class. All the data type in Python is a class. And if you want to comment it, either you can use double line comment. The multi-line comment is like this. A single line comment is that. So that means it has a data type called as string, str. Str is the data type. So what are the basic data types in Python? As is all these are the data types. It's int, float, and str, and then bool, and other bit advanced data types like list, dictionary, and then you have tuple, you have set. So these are the various data types. The first listed data types are going to show one value at a time, whereas list and all, it is a collection. So now let us see the other data types quickly. If I define n1 is equal to 100, and then if I say print type of n1, so it says its data type is integer. So it is a class int. So this is another data type. There are various data types. So this is another data type. Similarly, if I want to use amount, fraction, suppose I go to Bata and I buy something, let's say 1099, right? So if I want to know the type of it, print type of amount. So the data type here is float. The float is another data type. Similarly, you have a data type Boolean. So Boolean here it is called as bool, and it is for use active user. I would say something called is active user, and I would say yes, true. So Boolean is true or false. T is capital, F is capital. So this is the data type. I would say print. So is active user. So its data type is. So its data type is bool, and if I want to say type of, then it will give me the data type as bool. So that is the another data type. Where I can store a one value data type. So there are other data types. It is a list. Suppose I want to say list of numbers. Suppose a num list. How to represent a list within a square bracket? Say 2, 3, any value. So this is whenever I say print type of. So this is a list. And it is a global list. That is the difference. It is not like a regular array in other programming language. It's a dynamic list, and it can be heterogeneous in the sense not necessary it should be a number. It can be a string or any other data type, or it can be a what you can call it as array inside an array. There are a lot of options available. I will go through once I get started with the list. This is one of the data type. Another thing is what you can call it as a dictionary. So the dictionary of telephone. Dictionary is nothing but a key value pair. It is a key value pair. So key could be like, for example, phone numbers. So this is a key value pair. So this is what is called as a dictionary. Dictionary is a key value pair. So this is the another data type where we will be using the key and value are separated by colon. This is what is a key value pair. And we have other data type which is called as a tuple. The tuple we call it as a constant list. We call it as a constant list. That means you cannot add something to it, you cannot modify, you cannot do any operations on that. And we will be using that when we want to, when we are sure that elements in a tuple are not going to change. That is what was a case in a week. So this you can use a tuple, and tuple is a parameter like this. This is a tuple, and finally we have a set. So set is like a mathematical set, and it cannot take duplicate values. So say even num set. Again, it is represented using a flower bracket. So these are the basic data types which are available. So I started with the first program where I introduced you to the first few string statements as well as the various data types. So now let us move ahead, and it's quite simple here in Python. And let us move to the next one, which is operators. So quickly I will demonstrate operators. Again, I will save as. So any programming language you have operators, right? Same here also. In Python also we have the operators. So I will talk about three operators. So arithmetic, regular thing like plus, minus, and then star, slash. There's something called double slash here, which is an integer division. And then you have percentage, you have exponentiation. Okay, so these are all the various arithmetic operators. And then you have relational operators, which is there in other programming languages as well. Greater than, lesser than, greater than or equal to, lesser than or equal to, not equal to, and then equality, double equal to. So these are the relational operators, the comparison operators. Then you have logical operators, which is and, or, not. So these are the operators. Just I will show you one or two. Anyways, hopefully, I think if you have done the basics of programming, you will be knowing this. So N1 is equal to 100, N2 is equal to 200. So I can say N3 is equal to N1 plus N2, right? And you can print N3. Right? So this is how you can print. In the same way, you can try with so star slash double slash is the integer division. That means if I say 10 double slash 3 means only it is going to give me the integer part. Whereas single slash it is going to give you the fraction. Then you know like relational operator. So say if I say print of n1 greater than n2, it is going to give you false, right? The output is either true or false. So this is what is a relational operator, right? This is what is a false. It is a relational operator. Then you have logical operator. Suppose let me just add one more. So n4 is equal to 300. Then I would be checking like n1 greater than n2 and n2 greater than n4. This is how you can check. So the output would be like n1 is not greater than, it would be false, right? So it would be false. So like this, you can do the all these operators like logical and or not. And then as you know, like double equal to, not equal to. So simple here in Python. So these are the few of the operators which will be used. So move ahead. Let us move ahead with the loops. So any programming language you want something to be repeated, like you want to do multiple times the same thing, like you will be writing a loop, right? So see here also we will be using, we have two loops. One is the while loop, another one is the for loop. So there is no do while loop here, only these two are the loops here. I want to print just 1 to 10. How to do? Just I say start is equal to 1, end is equal to 10, and then I say while start lesser than or equal to end. One more important thing is the indentation. That is where it is very different. Indentation colon. You have to give a colon. After the colon, if you press enter, you can see this cursor is moved at least 4 indent from here, from the left. So this is what is indentation. So now you will come to know like what exactly indentation, how it is replacing a block of code. So here what I want to do, now I want to print start, right? Print start. And after that I have to do the increment, right? Start is equal to start plus 1. So this is what I have to do. As you observed here, the in other programming languages, let us say you wanted to do the same thing in C or C++, how we will be doing. So let me run this. It is going to print from 1 to 10. So that is where the key difference, the indentation. Other programming language, what I would have done is, would have used instead of this, I would use like open flower bracket and close flower bracket, right? So that is not there in Python. Because with this, you can put print anywhere. Anywhere you can put it in the beginning, you can put here this way. But Python does not allow this thing. So indentation means till the time the lines of code in the same indent, it is part of that particular block. So this is not allowed, right? This is not allowed. Here, this is allowed. So these two, line number 16 and line number 17, are in the same block. So that is where the this while block is going to start from this line number 16 and then it is going to end to 17. So that is where the indentation comes into picture. Now moving ahead, when you want to do the for loop. So in a for loop, it is very different. There we are going to use something called as a range. Range is a number generator. If I say range 10, it is going to generate a number from 0 to 9. What it does is, it is a number generator. It is going to generate numbers. So hash I can use generates number from 1 to 0 to 9. Initially it starts from 0 to 9. So this is what the range is going to do. This is a single line command. So range is used along with the for loop. Let us say for I want to do the same thing. I want to print 10, 1 to 10. I in range of, I should start with 1 and then I have to end with 11. And I can say print I. So here the first number is nothing but the starting number and the second number is the ending number. It all the time prints end number minus 1. It never prints 11, it is 1 to 10. If you don't use, if you use one single number, then it is going to print 1 to 10. Before I in range of, just you say 10, you will be getting, it will print only up to 9. Right, it is going to run only up to 9. So this is how it is going to do. And then you can do increment, decrement, anything you can do with this. For example, I want to start from 20 to 1 and then I want to say minus 2. So it is going to print a table. So this is how we will be using the loops, the while loop and the for loop. Okay, so let us move ahead. Let us do the conditional statements, which you are all aware of if you have done any of the programming, right? So let me create a new program. So again, if else, so there is a big change here. It is if indentation is applicable. So I say age is equal to something, and I want to check whether he is eligible to vote. If age is greater than or equal to 18, then again colon indentation print eligible to vote. Else again else will come here, again indentation print not eligible to vote. Right? So like this we can use the if else. So this is how we can use the if else, eligible to vote, not eligible to vote. So if you want to check for a series of conditions, then you have to use like if, else if. There is something called if, elif. ELIF, not else if, ELIF. This is if, elif. If you want to check for a series of conditions, you have to use if, elif. Okay, so just like this you can be using. And what about user input? I want to get the user input. I want to get the user input and then I wanted to do it. So instead of this, I want to ask the user to enter some number. Then what I can do is I can say, put enter enter your age. Right? But by default, whatever they enter, it is treated as a string. Now age is an integer. I have to convert into an integer. What to do? I want to do the casting. How to do it? Int. You put int opposite to this. I mean, in front of this, and then close it. And then now instead of this, what I will be using like age. So this is dynamically, I am getting the user input. How to run it? So you can see user input on the right hand side. So say if I say age is 18, let me check the boundary condition. It says you are eligible to vote. So like this, you can use the typecasting. So if you want to convert it to a float, you can convert it to a float. By default, use this int. So this is how you can get the dynamically. So going ahead, let us go to the next very important thing, which is function. Let us see how to use the function. So as you know, like function is the smallest unit in the code which you can do a specific thing. Suppose I want to greet something. How to write a function in Python? You have to use diff. Diff for define and then greet. Greet is the name of the function, and then the body, inside the body of the function, just I will say print welcome to Python webinar. So this is how you write a simple function, and then you want to call a function. So how do you call a function? So you can call a function like just greet. You can call a function like greet. Just you run both of them, I mean put together. So it has printed welcome to Python webinar. So this is how you can write a function, and you can. What if I want to pass a parameter? So you can pass a parameter. Let me just calculate simple interest. Si is equal to so f simple interest pass p comma r comma t. Then you can say return p star r star t by 100. So you can use a return. And you need not to mention the data type, nothing. Right? In other programming language like Java or C, you have to do all those things. So now I wanted to do this. So as it is returning a value, let us say simple interest is equal to SI, and I call the values like 1,000 rupees I keep, Rate of interest is 6%. Time is 1 year. Let us see how much value I'm getting. This is how you can separate a variable and a statement. Okay, so simple interest is. In this way, you can write a function, and a function can return more than one value also. It can return more than one value also. And also you can pass any number of keywords. Let us say there is another thing. If I do not know how many parameters I am sending, there is something called keywords. So let us say def keywords. I just say star parent. Then I say print parents. So now I wanted to call this function. Suppose I pass just 10, 20, 29. When I run it, see it prints 10, 20. Suppose I want to pass multiple parameters, like suppose I say I want to print 10, 20, 30, 40. It takes like. So in this way, you can write, and also it can return more than one value. It can return more than one value. So this is how you can be using a function in Python. So again, indentation is very important. If there is you are making any mistake in the indentation, it will show the error. So this is about the. So let me just take the advanced data structure. So very important, which is list and dictionary, right? So let me take up the advanced data types. So this is program number 6, list and dictionary. So I will be using a list and a dictionary.
Mr. Raghu, Kumar here again.
Yeah.
Okay, it's already more than an hour now. So, like, how long the session will go on?
Sir, yeah, another 10 minutes. Let me conclude. Is it okay?
Yeah, I think it should be okay because there are a lot of people leaving the session. That's the reason I thought of checking.
Yeah, what we can do is just 7 more minutes. I will just conclude this, and then we can talk. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Please carry on.
Okay. So suppose if I want to create a list, so then I say num list. So this is a list. Okay, so you can do the append, all the operations you can do. It's a dynamic list. You can say dot append. You can add some values, and you can print the list. Okay, so you can append. And only. Oh, sorry. This is. And you can print the elements of a list using a for loop. For I in num list, and you can print. So like this, you can do the list. You can use. This is a dynamic. You can keep on adding. You can find indexing. You can do a lot of things. And important thing is it can take duplicate values, and it is order and it's text. Similarly, we can use the dictionary. Dictionary is a key value pair. That is a dictionary of phone. And I will be starting like this. And then we will be, if I want to create a dictionary of phone, let's say dynamically, I can do like this. And this is the number. And I can print. Again, with dictionary, it is a key value pair, and you cannot take the duplicate keys. Okay, and you cannot use indexing the way you have done with list. There are just 4 minutes. Quickly, I will conclude the last one, which is class and object. Let me just conclude this. So if I want to do an object-oriented programming, you can do like this. The class for the employee, and then you can have methods in the class. There is a special method called init. It is a constructor. Suppose I say name and then designation. And salary, right? So I wanted to do, there is something called first parameter itself. It is like this in other programming languages. And I have to say self dot name is equal to name, self dot code is equal to code, self dot designation is equal to designation, and then self dot salary is equal to salary. Right? This is how I write. This is part of the constructor. Now I want to print them all. So I say info, parameter is self, then I can say print all those values. Say self dot name. Like this I can do self dot code. This is how I can do. How to create an object? I say Raghu is equal to employee. Sorry, this is an employee. Then as I have an init constructor, I have to pass all the values. Code some value and designation, then salary value, and then Raghu dot info, then it is going to. So in this way, so we can do the object-oriented program. So here this is a class, and the first self is nothing but like this, and then this is an object, Raghu is an object, and then info is a method which we are calling. So this is how we can do the object-oriented programming. So just to conclude, so whatever I thought of doing it, I have done everything like getting started, data types, operators, loops and condition, functions, class and object. Hope this was useful for you, at least to, if you want to get started with Python or to understand the difference of Python with other programming languages. So that is the main intention of our webinar. Hopefully, I'm able to demonstrate this. So it's over to Kumar. So I will stop my screen sharing. Yes, Kumar.
Hello. Yeah, right, sir. I think it was a wonderful session. So, and I think there are still a lot of questions which participants have. But before that, I think a lot of people were asking me about the recording. So I'll just quickly let you know, guys, like where the recording you can actually find. I'll just show you the screen so that you can easily go and access all the recordings. So just let me know once you're able to see my screen. Sir, Raghu sir, you're able to see my screen?
Yeah, I'm able to see. Yeah.
Okay, great. So this is on a website. So if you go here, we have a webinar recording, and there you have this ML and Python recording as well. So what we have done is, for all the 4 sessions, we have already, will be, uploading the recording on Facebook and as well as YouTube. So right now it is not there. After 3-4 hours, it will take for us. So after 3-4 hours, it will be available. This will all become link, and you can click and directly go over here. And at the same time, we are also starting a machine learning with Python training. So this is a 60-hour content. So starting from 17th October and it will go till 22nd December. It's only weekend, Saturday, Sunday. Okay, so we are running this training, and for webinar participants, we have a discount. It's just only 7,965 including of GST. So if you want to have a look at the content, here is the download button. You can click and download the content, and for the enrollment, this is the enrollment button also, right? So basically, both all the recordings will be uploaded on the Facebook as well as YouTube. So YouTube, you can subscribe, and whatever the new webinar or the recordings are, we are updating on the YouTube channel. It will be available for you. And on the Facebook also, similarly, we keep posting, so you can follow us on the Facebook for any new recordings or updates on any of the trainings that we are going to do. Okay, so that's a quick announcement which I wanted to do. So for your convenience, what I'm going to do is I'll just paste the recording link onto the chat section here, so that you can quickly have access, and maybe you can just save it. Also on the above the chat section also, I will paste this link for your convenience. Right, so that's all the quick announcement which I wanted to do. Maybe you can take the questions which will have posted on.
I saw one or few questions. Just let me go through that, which is already posted here. Okay, thanks for your good feedback. Yeah, someone is asking, very nice session, important for ML use cases. Okay, yeah. And yeah, certificate will be given for sure, I think. And
certificate, I think they are talking about, see, for webinar, we are not giving any certificate. For the training which you are attending, we will be providing you the certificate.
Yeah, thanks for the clarification. So very enriching session. Thank you. Thank you very much. Beautiful session. Thanks. Okay, earlier list ends with this. Now with this. Now list is open bracket, and open square bracket and close square bracket. Okay. So that is Ishaq Ahmad. And then is it a list or a set? So anything with a this is a set. This is not a list. So Ishaq Ahmad, again you are saying this is a set. Yeah. And then do we have AWS pipelines to script? Yeah, inside the AWS, they are calling the Python script only. If N1 is greater than N2 is greater, print statement is not required to print. Yeah, if here when I am doing it on the Spider, this is not required. But if you want to explicitly print it when you are writing as a program, you need to do the print. Can we import and export from to Python? Yes, we can do it. No, I am saving in the same folder. Do you have the installation PPT? Let me just check with, are you going to give the PPT, Kumar? That I will check. We are using any IDE along with Anaconda, like Python, not required. Anaconda, along with that, we are using a Spider. will version of the, yeah, what version? Here it is version 3.8. 3.8 is downloaded. Yeah, recording we'll be sharing. Yeah, Python and Anaconda, that's what. When we download the Python, just the Python will come when you download with Anaconda. So you have like NumPy, Pandas, other libraries comes along